I'm Christian Ettinger, owner and brewmaster at Hopworks Urban Brewery, or The Hub, 29th and Powell in Southeast Portland. In 2007, we opened the brewery 6 months before the pub opened. We did 400 barrels, and then this last year we did just under 10,000 barrels. Hopworks produces world-class beer and food as sustainably as possible. Sustainability differentiates Hopworks in the brewing community very directly through our organic initiatives. We're the only brewery in the state to commit to brewing everything organically. We're also 100% renewably powered in terms of our electrical use. We're also cradle to gate carbon neutral, and then the sustainable construction and operation are the other thing. I call it like the five-headed dragon, but those are our sustainable initiatives. When Hopworks first started, we were confronted with many sustainable options, and what we found was that the good, better, best, there's a price tag attached to everything, and if you overspend up front and you have to finance that money to get started, you can put yourself out of business by being a little too aggressive with your sustainable initiatives. So the low-hanging fruit is what we shot for out of the gates. Our first major decision was, what do we use to gut the building in terms of the demolition, and what do we do with all this material? Our first major sustainable decision was, how do we deconstruct the building? What we found is the majority of it we were able to take and reclaim and turn into furniture and framing material, and then because everything's touched, you can also recycle at a much higher rate. So the old wiring, the old fixtures, the ductwork, the plumbing, all this stuff. A track coat doesn't have a lot of dexterity, but people's hands do. So if you have 5 people working in here for 3 weeks like we did, with many different dumpsters, they know exactly what to do with everything, and they're experts in their field. From there, the decisions got more and more complicated and expensive. There were studies and great rewards from everything we did throughout the next construction phase. It's important to understand what the costs were and if there were big benefits. My personal passion is this energy and input reduction strategy that goes into your major utilities or water, electricity, natural gas. How do you neck those down? From our recent implementation of waterless urinals through necking down the aerators to the point where you can get enough water through to kick on your instantaneous hot water heater, but not so much that you're not wasting water unnecessarily. It's up to you to build a pro forma, or using the Energy Trust or these other models around that can really study the break-even point when you got a big capital expenditure, but the energy savings haven't quite paid for it yet, and that's where the delta, or the difference between those two amounts, is where the incentives come in and help to bridge that gap. The slam dunks in terms of capital expenditures and incentives is anything that pays for itself inside of 60 months. Certainly anything that pays itself inside of 36 months, yeah. Inside of 12 months, pretty rare, but jump on those things like a bomb. Our most recent project was with the installation, the speccing and installation of a new super energy efficient glycol chilling system. We put a water-to-water heat exchanger in this so that you can have a three-way valve. You can either dump the heat in the air when you need to, but when you want to preheat water for your next brew, you can dump that heat into water that's incoming from the city and store it in a big energy bank or a hot water tank. Shut the door, turn off the light. Like there's all these things like that. That's me at home and me here. Like I can't turn off the management thing when I get home either. But the idea is that you are managing your impact on the planet minute by minute. The idea is to get everybody on the same page so it becomes natural. The constant desire to do the right thing, be thoughtful, and minimize our footprint. But the marketing side of it cannot be ignored. It can be thoughtful and meaningful, but it can also have a fun element that is not so serious. Beer is about people, it's about fun, it's about good times. Our marketing expresses that, and we've shown that sustainability can be fun. It doesn't have to be so serious. It can be really simple. The marketing of the brewery, through things like our bar bike, sustainability doesn't mean a damn thing if you're out of business. It has to pay for itself. And how do you pay for it? Well, there is revenue generated by producing and identifying with people who appreciate great stuff, but the identification is also about a good marketing strategy. Never to be ignored is the power of a great brand. It's up to you as the entrepreneur to make yourself stand out. And in our case, we're standing out thoughtfully, but also by having a lot of fun and being creative and surrounding ourselves with these amazing people in terms of graphic artists, marketing director, and just generally having great powwows about what we're responding to. The liquid has to be great, but there's certainly no harm in having the can or tap handle or bottle label or the t-shirt. This is all about the fun, and it is branding as well. We quantify the energy savings in our sustainable initiatives very directly through the utility bills. So you take the monthly bill and then you take the monthly output and you go, okay, I've got kilowatts per barrel, or I've got gallons per barrel or barrels per barrel in terms of water use, and I've got a certain number of therms of natural gas per barrel. And the idea is to study it, set a baseline, and that's what your life cycle analysis is all part of, like looking at all the inputs into your business. And then you have a baseline, and then you can go month over month. And that's where the real management of it is. And we're trying to get better about that every day. And we've got a new green team leader, Nate, that's helping us actually take that information and turn it into action items.
So my name's Nate Young. I am the Sustainability Program Manager here at Hopworks. Generally speaking, I work between the brewery, the kitchen staff, Christian, and the rest of the admin staff to sort of wrangle what sustainability means here at Hopworks. I had never worked in a brewery. I'd worked in a winery many years ago. There's a lot of things here that I didn't expect, and there's a lot of waste streams or waste energy walking around. I brought a colleague that's an energy manager through the brewery, and it was fascinating to me to walk around with him because he walked around and just pointed at all the different spots and said, hey, that's wasted energy right there. That's also wasted energy. Look, you're pouring hot water down the drain. That's wasted energy. One of the first things that I did, I sat down with all the files going back to the beginning of the brewery's history and put into a spreadsheet, simple Excel spreadsheet, every single utility bill that we've had. More importantly, tracked that with the production of beer. So then we can get a number that is gallons of water consumed per gallon of beer produced for every month since 2007 when we made our first barrel of beer. And that starts to be really important information as I share that with the brewery staff, with the brewmaster Tom. Really having that trend from the beginning of the brewery has allowed us to map out some of the things that we've done. One of the things I'm pushing really hard for is thinking about a recapture system for the water that we flush down the drain at this point. What I'm really hoping for is to, as we move into any new space, to think really hard about what sort of infrastructure we can put in place. That water recapture, reuse, cleansing, any of that sort of stuff is something I'm really working hard with the brewery to make sure, if we can do it, that we put it in as we move in.
The elements of Hopworks that people really identify with, like why they're showing up in the first place, they're engaged on many different levels and satisfied, and then they're also kind of curious what the sustainability piece is that Hopworks is known for. When you're in an environment where sustainability is a core value and it's very visible, you can take things away. We got an electric vehicle charging station here, that's used quite frequently. People are going to walk by that and they're like, oh, I guess there's some other ways I could get here. I could maybe get a plug-in hybrid, or I could choose to ride here instead. Our workforce is amazing. We've got 100 people working at Hopworks currently. That's between brewing, administration, and both restaurants. When you have a thoughtful business model, you attract a wonderful community of thoughtful people. The other element of that is the customers that you attract as well are the same type of thoughtful people that want to vote with their dollar. They want to support locally owned and operated businesses that are doing the best they can to be sustainable. And as a result of these the green initiatives, the turnover has been a fraction of what the industry was. And after 5 years, we still have many of our original staff. The quality of the work life here is, I think, is reflected in the statistics, but we don't really take the statistic. We just try and hold on to our good people, The craft brewing industry over the last, getting up on 30 years, it's evolved and I think in many ways improved. We have great relationships with many other breweries in town. And the beautiful part about the big breweries is they were at one point small. And so they remember the big breweries helping them out. Like the Widmeres and Bridgeports of the world used to get helped out by Henry Weinhard's. And now they're the guys that we're leaning on to run our samples through their very expensive machines with their highly trained staff. You're always giving back to the new guys coming up, and you're always receiving something from people that became your forefathers, and it's just this kind of very cyclical. That's one of the main reasons that the beer is getting better and better is because it's a brother and a sisterhood that is alive and well. Economies of scale as you grow actually help you in terms of affording or implementing sustainable strategies. You have hopefully an improved cash flow situation, which you can show to a bank and they're going to be more likely to lend. Ultimately, cash is king, and if your business is successful and you have a good heart, you're going to spend the money in the right ways, not on the vacation house, but on the sustainable initiatives that help to save energy and further your brand identity through the points of differentiation. But these things are expensive, these sustainable initiatives are expensive, and you need to pay for them. It's important to make the proper decisions that don't put you out of business. We are focused on growing the business sustainably over the near and the long term. The idea of growing too quickly creates a vacuum downstairs in the brewery and for everybody, where it's important to grow. You don't want triple digit growth, as attractive as 100% may sound. Good luck backfilling that with good product. Let's just say we want to grow by 30% on the wholesale side. That's a manageable number where you can make a big difference and make a lot more beer and have the cash flow to improve your equipment and improve the quality of the beer over time, but you're not making yourself miserable and possibly running the risk of sending out product that is deficient in some way. So you got to have aggressive goals, but don't make them so aggressive that you're going to potentially sacrifice all the hard work you've done to date.